YouTube is slow tonight. Ooh. YouTube is very slow tonight. Oh well, people must be off doing Friday things. Jim, Travis, Paul, Jacob, Oliver, Barry, hey Catherine. Yeah, this one's kicking my butt. I don't know what to make. I mean, I have some theories, but I'm not sure how it plays out with the reality. Flux. And it's driving me mad. There's just going to be some annoying little spit of what was corrosion since this has been washed. And it's giving me the grief. Hey Jason, Stefan, Rodrigo. Did you try more than Yannick's? Yeah, I've tried a different ISL and it does the same thing. I mean, there's a couple of corroded caps here, but I wouldn't really call that shorting material. Yeah, like, yeah, there's that. That's on ground, that corrosion, that. A little bit of just surface corrosion. Likewise that. Yeah, there's nothing profound going on here. It's really just like itty bitty annoying bits of bits. And yeah, the ISL has been changed. And it didn't change a thing. Now, it's not to say that there might be a problem with the supporting circuitry of the ISL. But yeah, I'm having a devil of a time trying to get my head around this. If this was an older type circuit, sort of an analog circuit, then I would be blaming something like a discharge capacitor, discharge resistor. Maybe it's gone high, into the mega ohms range, and so it takes a long time to discharge some rail voltage. But as you can see, I've swapped this, and yeah, I can't really. Yeah, there's a little bit of brown on that, but that probably doesn't mean anything. I'll measure it anyway. What's the charging current? I haven't done charging current test on this yet. When it's only doing 5 volts, it's stuck at like 60 milliamp. When it gets 20 volts, it seems to go properly. It goes up to 1.2 amp and stuff like that. Alexandra from Brazil, hello from Turkey. So it's one of those everything looks too good type situations. At least I know the behavior is consistent even though I have changed the ISL. Let's see if it actually will do it right now. It's probably just going to get stuck on the 5 volt. What is interesting is that it does come up with the proper protocol on the USB current meter. It's going to zoom in. going to fit? Yep, that's going to fit. Alright, so it is now, this is in the fail state, as it were. So as you can see, we've got 5.1 volts, we've got 60 odd milliamp, but the protocol is correct, and it doesn't matter what port I use, it all does the same. Battery line, what? Ach, niemand, just... Same thing, and as you can see, the bottom line there, see protocol, QC, it's quick charge, 20 volt. It's interesting, it's actually doing quick charge 20 volt, it's requesting it, but we're only getting 5 volts going through, so I'm really a bit stumped by that. What's the resistance to ground on PV3V3? I'll go and check. Damn it. Weird, something's controlling. What is going on there? I got a bug. Huh. Nice. What was the value you wanted me to measure the resistance on? No. Have you tried the Bluetooth on the... I haven't, Jim. Remember that one was the one I was having trouble with in terms of getting it to consistently stay on. It would like run for a little bit and then it'd shut down. And I wasn't sure what was going on. And to be honest, things have been so stupidly busy around here, and will be for a little while yet, that I'm not even sure. I barely had time to even look at the Harold USB-C meters. USB devices. Well, at least it's running here. Whoops, you can't see. Naturally, because I'm left-handed, I do things all the way a bit weird, and it always comes around as upside down here. Interesting that reads 50 milliamp, but not that it really matters. It's all around about the same. Makes you think the PD line has issue. Okay, Jason, I'm actually going to admit I'm a little bit lost there. What do you mean by the PD line? Oh, the power delivery. I know what you mean now, but I'm not sure which line that is. Hey, Mary Claire, Noel. Travis, what do you got here? You're left-handed, like me. Been thinking about moving my hot air to the right of me. I actually found it to be natural, to be honest. When I'm using the hot air, I like to have my tweezers in my left for the greater precision, and then yeah, the hot air in the right. But at the same time, I have when it comes to soldering, I have the soldering iron tip in my left. But I suppose when it comes to soldering, the iron is the instrument of precision that you're trying to work on. Jason, if you want to tell me what line it is you want me to read, I'm happy to do that for you. Uh, this is the 928. There were little itty bits of corrosion around here on the V-core generation. Clean those up, and it seems to be okay. Yeah, I think if you're left-handed, you're somewhat implicitly ambidextrous, simply because you have to be able to survive in this society. And the only way to really do that is to be ambidextrous, given how many things are explicitly right-handed only. You're sitting in the car at your son's school. Oh, okay, well, that's pretty cool. Thank you for stepping in, even though you're in the middle of doing things. It's good of you. Well, what sort of chip area should I be looking at? Is this going to be ISL type related or C3215 related? I'm basically turning my brain off at this point and giving people an opportunity to fill it with crap or good. I'm not sure what I'm going to end up with. Oh wow, I got a bit of flair there. Hmm. Yeah, there's a bit of crap on my Barlow lens. It's causing a bit of a flare effect. I might just clean that off. The chip I replaced didn't change the readings. Oh, that's a hairy arm. I'm just going to change my Barlow, not change, clean my Barlow lens. Yeah, there's splatterings from solder. If you can, might not be able to see them there, but uh, there's a few splatterings that need to be cleaned up. Look for the schematics for the USB data line in. Should be a line that has PD on it. Okay. I'll tell you what I have found hard in terms of left-right handed is archery. I cannot work out what I want to be my dominant position with archery. And it's very frustrating. Okay, that's good. Sutterbridge, why would you do that? Why, good sir, why? Okay, I'm just going to do the eyepieces as well. May as well while I'm at it. Shouldn't really be touching them with a cloth, but this is a fairly fresh new cloth. That was weird. That was pretty much rotated all the way out. That one's not, so that's good. I would never do this to my camera lenses. Okay, that's good. Ah, Pillnov's here. USB PD communicates over CC1, CC2. I haven't checked with the battery, to be honest, Pillnov. I'll plug it in, connect it to the battery, and we'll see, okay? It'd be funny if actually it was just all along the fact that it wanted the battery, but... oh, well, we'll see. So my brain's a little bit mushy. Things are a bit late. I stayed up a little bit too late last night, chasing that rabbit down the EMMC hole. That wasn't a good idea. And I'm blaming you all for that. So yeah, you go ahead and punish yourselves. I haven't got the screen connector on there, but that's not going to matter for the purpose of what we're doing. Hey, we fix... right now I just feel kind of like when you've had a late night drinking and you're just starting to get over it. You know, it's around about 3:30 in the afternoon and you're starting to recover, get your senses back to yourself, but you know you're going to go out again that night, have a couple of drinks to recover again. Hopefully you'll be a little bit more responsible and get home before 2 o'clock in the morning. But not too responsible that your friends will think you're a jerk. You're a lamer. Hair of the dog, yes. Okay, where the hell's my big screw? What the? I am missing the big screw. Now that doesn't make any sense at all to me. That makes me think that the big screw was actually missing all along. Alright, I'm going to have to borrow it from somewhere else. Someone else's big screw, but I have to make sure I put one back. It's not a good thing to have missing. I'll see if I've got it in any of my other containers. 1708? No. Well, there's pretty much nothing else that I've got that has those screws. And I see we all go back to being silly teenagers again. How typical. Glasses. Hey, Crazy Joe. Okay, battery connected. Let's see what our behavior is like. Again, it's requesting charge. And so it's, like I said, it's like the CD3215s are all talking properly, but it's just not transitioning over to that. And it's very strange that if I wait an hour, I can plug it in, it will work. And then the moment you disconnect it and try again, it won't work anymore. So some rail or some sense line is getting up to voltage, but then it doesn't come back down or something. Yeah, again, 5 volts, 60 milliamps. It's always 60 milliamps. And the protocol's the same every time. Yeah. Very strange. Like I said, I really don't know what to think of it. Look for the USB CC1, CC2. Okay, we'll do. I'm not sure if this has enough charge in it for me to even turn it on. It would appear not. Well, it sounds to me more like a capacitor that gets charged, but needs to then be discharged, but something isn't, the normal sort of pull down resistor or whatever has either gone high, disconnected, or a gate's not bringing it down, things like that. Or there's no reset, it's on turn on or anything happening. Mind you, to take an hour or so to discharge, that's quite a long period of time. So it would be a rail that has a lot of energy in it and not a lot of resistance or bleed current. Anyway, I'm just going to take this board out and then we're going to go look for that CC1, CC2 rails. Unfortunately, the trackpad lines. Oh, you mean maybe in terms of destroying of the logic? Yeah, I don't know. I think I've still got another 50 years of research on these boards to go. Okay, so the CC1 and 2 is going into them all. Yeah, Joseph King, I really wish it was helping me right now because it's not. Admin media. Well, I think I'm pretty beaten up right now. I guess one thing I could do is just pull every single CD3215 and check it underneath. It's a bit brutal. And my eyes can't even focus properly right now. 60. So both those lines are 0.60. That's CC1 and CC2. So I'll go and check the others. Start with UV300. What am I? Yeah, I'm on UV300 right now. When you say start with UV300, do you mean pulling the chip and having a look, or is that what you mean? This is the trouble when you ask for help from everybody, is that you tend to turn off your own brain. And that's why when people please bro, it seems like it never ends. You know, they ask you one question, they've got to ask you another question, they've got to ask you another question. In part, it's because the fact that you just turn off your brain. You're just used to being fed the information. A bit like when you're a student and the teacher's trying to teach you something. You just sit there and you open your brain up and let it go from there. Asked you a few days ago, Wi-Fi problem disconnecting after a few minutes. Just let you know the problem solved. Is flex cable between Wi-Fi module and mainboard. Oh, well, I'm glad to hear you got that resolved. Nice when it's a dead set win. Oh, what's this? Oh yeah, that's interesting. That is a physical defect on the chip right there. It's like a little indent. It is not present anywhere else, but I'd sooner say it's just a manufacturing quirk. I don't really believe that it's truly dead. Diode mode around it. No. Well, I'll do the usual dance. Let's see. Notes sections. Here we go. UB300. Just hook this up. Connect the power. That's all voltage testing, but I'll still do it through the voltage test mode. It's not quite the same, obviously, as diode test, but it might give us some indication. Voltage, right. And naturally I'm upside down. Okay. Yeah, it's a bit of a pain. I agree. Ach, niemand. Let's turn this thing around. Where's our fuse? Okay, so we've got 5165. 338. Close enough. 18. 18. So we don't have a 1v1 on here, so maybe we've got a problem with the what do you call them? The damn flash chips for the where are they? These things. Maybe there's an issue here. Because we don't have the 1v1. And typically you get, if you don't have the 1v1, it's typically a problem here. Now, if only I could look at that and sort of go, oh yes, I can see the problem, but honestly, I can't see a damn thing wrong with that area. You bet my issues with CB300. Is that fat cap up there? Why would you blame CB300? Or I'm guessing you might have guessed that before we actually tested it. To find that we don't have 1v1. Can you check the state of the SMC PME S4 Dark L line? Okay, Damares, we can have a look at that. SMC PME Dark. Flippin' egg. Great, no exposed points there. We had a test point there. Somewhere in this cluster over here. Oh, there we go, maybe. Oh, I might just use the test point. And it's that one up there. And naturally, of course, the USB connection's fallen off, so now I've got to flip this over and set that back up. Might help if I put screws in it, eh? Some would call that a smart thing to do. We'll check the diode mode first of it. .53, so that's looking pretty normal. Voltage. And it looks like we've got pretty much nothing on that line. So PME S4 Dark L is dead. And yeah, we've definitely got the right line, and that does not seem to have any value at all. It doesn't even look like it's been properly asserted to ground as far as I can tell. It's kind of half floating, half not. Oh right, you said it before. We didn't have 1v1. All right then. Oh cool. And who was it? Hey Eddie and Ben. Yeah, Damaras. We basically have. It seems like there is a decent diode mode on that line, but there doesn't appear to be any voltage on that line. And Miles, you are correct. We don't normally do smart things around here. Alright, so we don't have 1v1, which like I said normally implicates something with this memory flash chip. The question is what? And what's more particular in this case is that it will come back after 20 minutes or an hour or so. So that's the maddening aspect of it. That it does come back, but you just have to wait for it for quite a period of time. Just question is why? Where is that voltage line created? I think it probably comes out of like a PCH or something. Hey, English Hedgehog. been a while, and comes out a U2800. Oh right, that's a U2800 is a Thunderbolt chip. There's two of those, isn't there? Oh, this is the other one. Infrared camera. No, this it doesn't draw enough power. Only 60 milliamps. So I can't really be blaming that. Yeah, a 5 volt, 60 milliamps. Yeah, you got 300 milliwatts of power. So does CB300 have to be good to get 1v1? Well, I think what I'm thinking though is that given that they do get up and run, makes me think that they're probably okay. And there wasn't any corrosion under them or anything that I was aware of. Like I said, the only quirky thing is that teeny little indent on that chip, which we can't really see because I am, yeah, out of focus. Just above the letter D on CD3215. It's like a, yeah. Hey 3X. I'll do the same on here. I'll do the voltage check and see if I also don't get 1v1 on here. If I'm not getting 1v1 on both of them, then that does tend to rule out that particular possibility of maybe the busted up EFI chip. If it was on one side only, I could get it. But on both sides, I'd have to start blaming something else. Some other aspect involved in it. There's all this, there's just a bit of fluff in there. Yeah, it's just fluff and junk. Yeah, I agree the indent doesn't seem to be much. I'm just going to check what chip this is. It's U3200. Let's go for the all-in. We were on that port because that was the one we were measuring because we got the voltage coming through that fuse, so that was legitimate. Okay. Plugged in the wrong one. Okay, like right now we're going to be working with U3200. We should have a voltage here. Yep, see, so we've got our 5 volts there. And 3V3 here. Yep. 1V8 here. Yep. Another 1V8 up here. Yep. And 1v1 there. Okay, so we actually got 1v1 on this one. This one here is giving us 1v1, whereas the other one didn't. So, alright. So in that case, we'll shift our focus back to the other side. Oops, I just did a naughty. So very naughty. Well, not having 1v1 doesn't actually mean that the CD3215 is dead. It just means that there's a problem with the communication to that particular chip. Okay, so we're back to that fuse there. Wait, which fuse are we on? FB201, UB400. So we go through, check all these ones. I know it's a bit repetitive, but this is the nature of this sort of work. Three. 1-8. 1-8. 1-1. Just notice that's a bit of a shiny edge on that. Yeah. Okay, so that one there's got 1-1. Yeah, Jason, not happening. Ask Pionov, he's doing a... No, it's just reflective gloss. Okay, we may actually have a problem with that CD3215 here in this case. So we're just going to double check everything again and see if we still don't get 1v1. Now, I like to double check these things because quite frankly the price of these chips, it's not cheap. Is it short to ground? No. Wait, what the hell's going on there? Okay, why? What? How badly am I misreading this right now? Okay, that's better. Had me panic there for a second. I should really know these off by heart, but now is not the time to be trying to guess my way through diagnostics process. And yes, I am repeating things I've done before. And now we've got 1v1. Alright, so now we've got 1v1 everywhere. Sucks. Oh, what a pain. Let's check to see if we've got our 20 odd volts. We've got 10 volts, so that's... $7 volts, that's kind of weird numbers to have. So 10 volts, 7 volts, it's not what I'd normally expect, but then again, this isn't in 20 volt mode. No, I would sooner say I'm thinking maybe I just simply, maybe I what do you call it? Mismeasured it. 5 volts. Far out. Okay, it's time to check the sequences in other ways. Maybe we'll spot something. $5. 5 volt. $342. VV3, V3, G3 hot. Yeah, we actually just measured that. So your timing was sadly just fractionally behind me. $1.2 is right. Walter, I'll get around to the clock once I'm done with this. Kind of easier if I don't break my stride with what I'm doing right now, otherwise yeah, things just get interrupted too much. Three volts, 3 volts. So here we go. We've got some clock line here, which is naturally just where I was. That's the other thing. Yeah, this sequence is a sequence taken off the wiki page, iWiki. Third one. 3.4. Four. Barry, not likely because it's exactly the same fault. I just disconnected my... I really need to just put some screws into this USB thingamajig. Oh, I know why this doesn't have the screws I'm expecting, because this was a packet delivery. Everything was already in little baggies. I remember this now. Yes. It's like, yep, I totally know which screws are going to go where. Not. if you ever do have to send a machine to me and you are thinking of disassembling it, please try not to just cluster everything together like that, because it really does make my job very hard. And if I'm having a mood, I may consider charging extra. Let's try to see what I'm supposed to be measuring here. I need 5 volts at, this is TBA auxiliary detect. Oh, it's interesting. Okay, I don't know if we've got a problem here or not, but we technically are supposed to be reading 5 volts at this point, but I've only got 1.28, which interestingly is a quarter of what I was expecting. And I suspect maybe 5 volts is when it's got 20 volts. Schematic. So like, here we've got the 5 volts, but I'm suspecting this detect line is going to be a resistor divider or something like that. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so it's basically taken a 1/4 measurement. So 750 and 255, so we're going to call that a 1 meg overall. So that's why we've got 1.25 volts going on here, because it is only reading 5 volts on this line, PPDC in, when it really wants 20. So the fault hasn't quite come this far yet. We've gone past where the fault could be, most likely. Because I think this here will be waiting to detect the 20 volts and do whatever it's got to do. Clock chip. You want to explain the reasoning behind the clock chip? And which clock chip we're talking about? We're talking about RTC clock or what? It's close enough to 4.7. Looks like I'm getting a quarter pulse. What do you mean? Where are you seeing the quarter pulse? You see, it's not actually strictly intermittent. This is not so much intermittent in the way I would consider intermittent. I'd consider this repeatable on the basis of the fact that if I wait 20 minutes or an hour, it will come back. So it actually has there is a deterministic nature to it, as opposed to just randomly coming on and going away. So this is deterministic, it's just a case of it's a very long period of deterministic. Hmm. And what bothers me is I don't like to pull these chips without having a fairly good reason to do so. Like I said, our corrosion was like in areas like this, like a bit there, bit there, bit there, there. So there was a little bit over this area, and also around here on the V-regs. I might pull the heatsink off again. Maybe I missed something under the heatsink. Unfortunately, Yummy Steak, I haven't had the opportunity to test to see if it boots fully yet. Because every time that it's come up, it's been out like this. So what I'm going to have to do at the end of tonight, since it's highly likely that we're not going to solve this tonight, I'll put it into the case so that first thing in the morning I fire it up and then I'll see if it fully boots, or whether it's just some silly current consumption going on somewhere but no actual life. I mean, I've got a few of those in my queue at the moment where they draw a perfectly decent, what seems like a boot sequence, but in the end nothing comes up. I wouldn't even say it cools down, Warren. It's more like when it runs, it charges something up, and then you got to wait for that to discharge. Anyway, I mean, it might be a temperature dependent thing, but it's unlikely. It's a little bit too consistent for that. Okay, let's have a look under where the heatsink was obstructing. There's not much in there. You got the mux. Oh, yeah, not much else. This is really not leaving me with much at all. Quite rather the disappointment. Yeah, boards like this will test you very well. Also tests my audience's patience. Have a look at it edgewise. Well, if I was to guess, I would say a resistor has gone very high somewhere. Chances are we're all wrong. Chances are it's just little green men doing things to our board. $50 on a bad Thunderbolt chip. Yeah, Miles, I might actually go for that, considering I've had a run of those recently. And certainly not pleased about trying to reball those damn things. But it has a reasonable chance of actually being legit. Is that gunk or is it just... No, that's just gunk that you see around the place. It's from manufacturing process. There's a tiny smidge of corrosion on that. Could it be Thunderbolt ROM? I thought it might have been, but it doesn't seem to be. For a second then it looked like it could have been because we were missing 1v1. But it seems like it could have just been the person missing their brain. Yeah, the only spot of corrosion we've got so far is on that connector there, and that's... Ew, I've got heat transfer compound on my fingers now. That's... pretty sure that's touch bar. Hmm. This is pretty much as maddening as the current pogoing USB one that I have on the shelf. I've got a board that will let you draw about 1.2 amps out of the USB port, and then if it goes over about 1.3 actually, all of a sudden it starts resetting the line. And it's extraordinarily frustrating because it's not the current limiting chip. One thing I'm thinking of is maybe the actual rail that supplies the current for the USB port is weak. Maybe bad inductor, bad flyback cap, diode, I'm not sure. No, I haven't checked under here. Might have a look at there. The trouble with these boards is there's so much to them that you can easily forget to go over areas. We'll pull that foil off, have a look. I am getting too tired. What? Why are we mentioning a leader now? Hey, zero effect. Ah, that's why. Yeah. Yeah, a leader would certainly not appreciate that. I know I wouldn't. X R7009. Is that the one that's supposed to be 4.7 ohms? Because if it is, that one's been checked. Ah, damn it. Yeah, yeah, that's totally going to be it with its perfectly sealed in chip. Yeah, good job, Paul. Well done. I know, R7075 is the 4.7 ohm one. Where did I find... Damn it, man. Don't you watch the stream? I told you where I found it before. Now you... Damn you. There were drips and draps around here. But as you can see, it was nothing too severe. It was just like, a bit of spotting. The only places where it's left any sort of meaningful impact is like here. It's there. That one there. That one there. That one there. That's pretty much it. I should see what rail that is. Maybe it's been harmed. Too tired. Go to sleep, Paul. Okay, that looks like C7251. That's on PP Bus HS CPU. Oh, that's nice. Oh, excuse me. Alright, so PP Bus HS CPU is doing its deeds when the corrosion came and it ate stuff. That's a bad thing because a lot of stuff is on that bus. Mainly the CPU VREG generator. Still think that tiny dent at the CD is a bit suspect. It is a little bit suspect. It is a bit strange. I will grant you that. But it's interesting that it kind of looks more like just a manufacturing defect. Like, yeah, the encapsulating epoxy didn't quite... There was an air bubble there or something like that. I said, it just drives you mad that this comes up after an hour or two. It's like, why, man, why? What I could try to do is heating up sections of the board and see if it comes to life. That's a pretty popular technique for TVs when you've got these weird issues. And just start heating up areas of the TV board and see if it comes to life or stops living. Either way, it's all cool as long as you've got a way of causing it. Let's try some board heat ups. No, I'm really half asleep here now. Guys, it's just interesting that it comes up with the right protocol, so that kind of stumps me. Usually what you get instead is an unknown protocol type behavior. Yeah, what to heat up? Seriously, that's a tough question. What area of the board to heat up? Got something on J4500. I think I saw that. I think I saw it and I just didn't bother with it. Nope. Got this one here being J4500. Maybe you just saw the hair. I think that might have been what you saw. And then that sort of left a little bit of a piece of junk there. That's what value that polyfuse is giving me. Sometimes they can go high and stay high. But 0.3 ohms, I don't think so. If a chamber will be. Stuart says try heat up the 3215s. Well, let's give it a whirl. This is the dented one. No change, still the same. Now while it shouldn't matter, I will heat this one over here. Joseph, you make a very persuasive argument there. No, same thing. Still the same. Hey Thomas Lamy, I should be asleep because we're not getting anywhere on this. I think we're just going to have to leave this until tomorrow when it's ready to go again at 20 volts. I'll make sure that it's ready to in the chassis and it can boot, and I can see then at least if it gets all the way. Use a heat gun. No thanks. Wagner's not permitted here. I should have a sign on my door. Yeah, no Wagner parking. I'm fairly sure it's not heat sensitive. Like I said, it really does feel like some sort of gate, MOSFET gate type situation that something's not draining the gate. So the gate just retains the charge and keeps it open. Because with MOSFETs, once you charge that gate, and if you disconnect the gate line, so it's basically just floating high impedance, then yeah, it's very hard to actually turn them off. It takes a very long time for that charge to dissipate out. In fact, one of the big problems with MOSFETs is because they have such a high impedance on their gate input, you explicitly have to give them a pull down resistor, sort of like in the order of, well, at least a mega ohm or so. Usually we tend to use 10k or something like that to make sure it's a faster pull down. But you have to do that, otherwise they will freely pick up any sort of RF noise or anything like that from around the board, or even just free air EMF, and they will turn themselves on. So I suspect that's probably what's happening. Hence, it's taken a long time for it to drop that charge. So something that needs to be off initially is not happening. I'm either leaning towards a resistor that's bad, or a chip or something that has an internal fault, subsequently meaning that the gate is not being discharged. That's my theory for now, anyway. I could well be wrong. Just putting the heatsink back on so it's ready to go. I'm just going to set it up so it's ready to go when I wake up in the morning, or whenever I get down here and have a look at it again. And so I don't make the mistake of going, let me just plug it in while it's out of the machine, and then whoops. I just noticed one aspect that was mentioned. I don't know if it's showing up. I'll have a look at the screen in a second once I'm finished. For goodness sake, get on there. Oh my lord. They mentioned that only the battery logo comes up sometimes. Oh, for flip's sake. What are these, T6s or are they T5s? The way they're behaving, it's like they want to be a T6 all grown up. Nope, definitely not T6. Get out of here, fly. What are you doing here in the middle of the night? Go photo induction on it and slam it with 5 kV. I'll just put a great big fat bright light there. Yeah, that'll work. Bright lights can indeed mess with circuitry. In fact, there's quite a few instances in history where light has created most interesting intermittent faults. Raspberry Pi actually suffered from it recently, I believe, with one of its voltage regulators, because it wasn't encapsulated. Or at least I think it wasn't encapsulated. There was something about it. Anyway, it was photosensitive. That was pretty amusing. In general, all diodes do have a photoreaction effect. Even the ones that are encapsulated, you can still induce some sort of potential voltage across the junction if you illuminate it strongly enough. Hey, bikes, cars and guns. Just finishing up here. We haven't solved anything. We've mostly just gone around in circles. You can see where the liquid damage was. There's a bit there, a bit there, and a bit there. So I wouldn't be worried too much about that one. And there's also a little smidge here on the keyboard flex. But yeah, over here is where the most of it was. Hey, Auto. As I said, we're just trying to prepare this so that after the hour and a half, whatever it takes, is up, we'll have the opportunity to see if this actually boots or not. Which will not be on this stream, I'm afraid. Damn it. Come on. Don't be like that. Stay stuck. Oh yeah, this morning's board, that was fine. After it came out of the ultrasonic cleaning, it ran. So yeah, it was just a bit of junk hanging around those under the CPU, all flushed out, and working beautifully now. Thank goodness for that win. Isn't there supposed to be a plate over that? I'm almost certain there's supposed to be a protective, like, yes, there is. Here it is. I found it. There. This plate is supposed to be on that. And I believe it does mess with things if it's not on there. Auto, because when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to be somewhat stupid. And the last thing I want to do is come down here, forget that I'm not supposed to start it up until I can test it in the chassis, and then apply the power to it, and then realise that, whoops, no, I've got to wait another hour and a half before I can test it again. Basically, I'm just preventing myself from being myself. Or rather, I'm compensating for what I'm likely to be in the morning. Let's see if this... I'll try to hold the button down. Does that do anything? Yeah. I'm just going to leave that and see if Santa Claus brings us something in the morning. Not that he ever has, but you never know. Maybe this time we'll be lucky. Maybe this time we'll put out the right cookies. Hey, PR. No, you're always a bit late, PR. Always finishing up just as you seem to turn off. But like I said, it definitely comes up QC2. So quick charge to 20 volts, and it's just not giving us 20 volts. Oh well. Okay. Bit of a dud stream. I'm sorry about that, folks. That's the way it goes sometimes. It's not all parties and fun and riches here. In fact, most of the time it's just downright depressing. So, alright, I'm out of here. We'll try tomorrow morning and see how it goes. Until then, best of luck with your own repairs. I'll see you next time. Catch you later.